Hola amigos and welcome back to another episode of La Vida Verde podcast. I'm your host Matthew Human here at Finca Vida Verde. My guest this week is my good buddy Florian Kuster. Florian is a father, a photographer, a video producer, and he has a new book, Wild and Scenic Through My Lens. We're going to talk photos, we're going to talk video. It's going to be a great conversation. Stick around. We hope you enjoy. Florian Kuster, welcome to La Vida Verde podcast. Welcome back to Finca Vida Verde.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's good to have you back here. And we've had Florian was just coming in. He says, there's major upgrades. I haven't seen, I almost didn't recognize the place because the last time you were here was probably
It was about 6 years ago.
6 years
You remember
ago.
We did that awesome video project. We were ahead of our time.
We were ahead of our time. Florian was doing, what do we have? What was it?
It's a 360 video. You can actually check it out. It's still online.
Yes, it's on YouTube it's called Don't Have You. And wow, that was crazy. So I was just getting into VR and kind of getting inspired by VR. I had tried the VR at the Sundance Film Festival and I had my mind blown and I was like, I want to do this. And Florian was at the same tip. He's like, yeah, let's do it. I got one of those things. And so we collaborated. It was just a labor of love. And we spent a day just one day, I think, right?
Yeah, actually, we organized it very well. I had one of these, still have one of these 360 cameras that looks like an eyeball.
Yeah.
No, I'm not using it currently because it never took off, actually. So we were ahead of our time, but we're still waiting for things to happen.
With this new Apple,
Exactly.
thing.
Now they're tapping into the potential of 3C. So for people who don't know, actually, you can watch it online on YouTube and you can use your finger, your mouse to actually look around. And we encourage people to look around because remember, we were hiding two things in every shot.
In every shot, there was a pineapple.
That's right.
And a giant wooden penis.
Yeah. Some Easter eggs for people to look around.
I can't believe we have, of course.
And so we were at your house over there right now.
Yeah.
And filming on different locations and really try to find engaging environments that made actually sense to look around because in some places it just doesn't make any sense to turn your camera angle around.
Right, and because you've been a regular or 2D photographer for years, and that's one thing. But learning to do 3 or VR photography is it's not even here we're sitting in front of a camera, we have a frame. What's happening outside the frame? We have go-go dancers happening here. You would never know it.
Nope.
Yvonne's naked, sitting in his underpants.
Don't give everything away, man.
No, I know, but they will never know this unless I tell them.
Yeah.
But in a 360 VR video, you see everything. It's literally 360.
Yeah, you can't hide the lights or microphone or whatever.
No.
And you have to coordinate the whole crew around it. So now it's action. And then everybody has to know what to do in around the camera. You put it on a tripod, and then you have to go with it.
Yeah, so that was fun. It was a fun experiment, actually.
Yeah. And now I couldn't find my way back to your house. It's changed.
Right.
Everything is so different. I congratulate you on that because it looks really, really, really
Thank you
nice,
very much.
Comfortable, awesome.
We're working on. It's a process. Love and the podcast is helping me express new parts, and I'm really glad to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah,
I've seen all these people and podcasts, and I say one day I'm gonna be on that podcast too.
Well, your new book is taking off. You're famous now, Florian Kuster. You had what was it? A dinner with the ambassador of what?
Yeah, that was actually my book launch event. That was at the house of the Swiss ambassador here in Costa Rica, and he invited several very important people, from the Brit stores, travel agencies, and the actual CEO of the ICT, which is the Costa Rican Tourism Board.
Cool.
And so, since then it has been growing, and I have been talking to people.
Congratulations.
Lately, I met the Minister of Foreign Commerce. He has a book. He's a proud owner of my book too.
Oh, nice.
And so, things are connecting.
Why don't we show the book?
Very happy with it.
Yeah. You got it?
Oh, what a coincidence!
What a coincidence.
We
There's
have
a
my book
right
here. So it is a coffee table book. It's a very nice format that you can actually have you seen it
Yes,
from the inside?
not entirely. Like I haven't had sat with it enough. Wow, it's
So
the colors are brilliant.
I wanted to create kind of an art gallery within a book, and it's a perfect
Wow.
well, it's a resumen. What would you say, resumen? It's
A resume, no?
Resumes.
Or
Resume.
it's a resume.
A summary.
A summary. Exactly.
A summary of Costa Rican wildlife and nature, and it's a coffee table, so it's a visual book that you can just open at any page and just enjoy it. There's some text to go into, some details, some behind the shots, how I made the shots.
You want to show it?
And for example, this one is a special one. So I wrote some text just to give a little bit of the context, because I had to actually go out of the boat and it was very muddy. I had to go through lines of caimans and approach this kingfisher.
In the pristine northern wetlands near the Nicaraguan border, amidst caiman-lined river shores, I fearlessly left the boat and ventured through the mud, inching closer to capture the perfect shot. Witnessing the sheer elegance of a pygmy kingfisher perched delicately on a twig framed against the backdrop of a river reflecting the sky.
Really good. A good podcast voice.
Oh, yeah. Well,
you should do that more often.
I should do it more often. I should have a podcast.
So I was working on my book for a year, but actually the dream of doing it is 10 years old. So when I came to Costa Rica 10 years ago, beginning my first steps of a wildlife photographer, I always thought, okay, one day I want to do my book. This is kind of the dream of every photographer. This is the Champions League if you have your book there. And if it's actually being sold in the major libraries and at the airport and different souvenirs across the whole country, and now about to get on Amazon.
Yeah, amazing.
So it's really it's a big deal.
Congratulations, Florian. Florian, you moved here 10 years ago, you said?
Yeah, more than 10 years ago now.
And where did you first move to?
So we rented in
before Ecovia?
Yeah, it was close to Dominical.
Okay.
Vida? No, Valle. It was a farm. They were renting a cabin. We stayed there for months. We didn't really like it. It was just too far off. And we lived in Grecia.
Like in the Diamante Valley somewhere?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, but at that time, I mean, right now that's kind of a booming area. But back then, there were hardly any expats there.
Yeah, Tina Mustay was literally one cafe. I remember that place. It's called the Pura Vida or something cafe.
Yeah. We stayed there and it was an awesome time because it was after my corporate life in Switzerland. We just wanted to leave it behind, and then we settled for a month in a little place, and it was awesome. But after a month, it kind of, okay, and what's next? And it was hard to connect to places. So then we moved to Grecia. And we stayed there over a year and a half. But the thing was, we never really connected to people because we were living in a suburb of that small town, beautiful place, Grecia. But we noticed that we need a little bit more to life than just a roof and work. We needed a tribe, we needed a community, and we couldn't really get along and integrate in the Costa Rican culture because they have different interests. And we speak about nutrition, we speak about meditation, we speak about different things in life we expect. And in Tico culture, at least in the place we were living, we couldn't really connect to people. So we were actually reaching out to Ecovia, and we were among the first ones actually to purchase in Ecovia, and we co-founded the whole village of Ecovia.
Nice, yes. Yeah. I remember you guys were up on what's now like Oren Alex's place, right?
Yeah, just across.
Tachi and Rob's.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So they built the whole place bigger, but we actually started it. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We were still part of the history.
Right. I never actually visited that house before they built onto it.
It was a casita like this one here. Very, very nice wooden casita. A lot of open outdoor areas. It was to be like a tiny home, eventually becoming our guest house. But we never got there. So
let's just back up because I know people who watch this, we like to start at the beginning, but I don't want to go spend too much time because I know you have so much going on. But like, you're from Switzerland, you are.
I am.
You grew up there?
Yeah.
What was it like growing up in Switzerland?
If you don't know anything else, it's just normal. You just get used to whatever.
What was your life like?
Well, we were growing up in a small little town on the countryside, very conservative. I'm the fourth of four children.
Okay.
My dad was electrician, just like very standard, very traditional, and life was already pre-planned, so there was nothing really to choose. You go to that school and you go to that, you graduate, you pick a job, you graduate there, and then you go to work. So kind of first half, I'm now 42 years, so the first half of my life, it was already pre-planned. I couldn't really pick here or there because, society in a way just dictates, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to do that based on your interest, based on your skills.
And your access.
Exactly. And so it was pre-planned. I didn't really think about it, but as I graduated and I was working, I just got bored and said, hey, that's not my life. So I envisioned myself being like that 80-plus-year-old guy looking back on my life and say, what the fuck?
What did I do?
What did I do? I just wasted my life. I wasted this opportunity to come to this earth and actually do something meaningful for me, something I really enjoy, kind of expressing who I am. And everything is so pre-planned, and it's so hard to break out because there is this huge voice of society that says you can't do that, you have to do that, you must, you cannot, and all these voices, they resided within me, and it was really hard to break out and even dream about there is something different, so that first half of my life I was locked into that system.
Yeah, and you what did you study? Did you go to school for?
Yeah, it's a business administration.
And then I know you got a job. You were working for Maersk. That's a Swiss company, no?
No, it's a Dutch company.
Dutch.
No, sorry. It's Denmark. Can I say Denmark? Danish company.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I worked in different companies, always related to international commerce, trade, transport. I at one time worked in a arms factory, air defense. I was the guy exporting war materials around the world, Completely different story.
No way.
Yeah.
Like missiles, you were like packing up missiles and sending them to...
I'm not allowed to talk about
that. Okay.
No, it's a Swiss company and it's totally legal. But they're exporting war material, air defense material, but being part of a bigger corporation, sure. A German corporation, which exports other things too, and at that point in time, you just go, yeah, I need the job, I need the money.
Sure.
If I'm like, that's the common voice. If I don't do it, somebody else will do it,
right?
And you cash in. You have a good job in Switzerland, you make a lot of money,
sure.
And it's convenient because you get used to your comfort, and you just say, okay, I'm getting into that. But since I saw so many like 45, 50-year-old guys so locked in, and they couldn't get out because they had loans, they had their cars, they had their families, obligations, and they could never break out of that. And so kind of that already caused some anxiety for me. I don't want to end up like this. And then always bitching about, if I would have been more like decided, if I had like balls really to do something.
If I could go back and do something again.
Yeah, and I don't want to regret my life. I don't want to get trapped in there and then see these people looking at their screensavers and mirror like backgrounds of their computer screens with a nice palm tree, and the sunset, and no, I actually want to have the balls and do that stuff, and it's just looking.
I have balls.
Yeah, man.
I will use my balls.
Absolutely.
And so bro, what did you do with your balls?
Yeah, well, actually, it took a big hit from life because it turned out I didn't have the balls to just act on myself. So I was in a relationship which was like really not, sustainable. It was just clinging on to each other, kind of being crutches for each other.
Sure. Like codependent.
Exactly. So I was kind of trapped there, and I wasn't moving anywhere, and she wasn't moving anywhere. And then actually we separated. Well, she said, okay, I want to do something else. It's just doing the same thing and repeating year after year. So she ended it all. And that actually was a huge impact because I was bottomless. I had nothing to, why the fuck would I be there just for working in that arms factory and then spend my money on vacation and stuff, and just no.
Yeah.
And so I was really I was out there in the wind. It was a very unstable situation, and it could have gone really wrong because I had no interest whatsoever in doing my life, you know?
Follow my passion. Start drinking heavily. Like, this is the options.
Absolutely. And I went through like a couple of months of crises and just kept going. And then once I actually saw online was an opportunity to work as a scuba dive master in the Dominican Republic.
Right.
I said, okay, fuck it, let's do it. You know?
And had you scuba dove before?
No, never.
You just decided you became...
The thing was, in exchange, you go there, you learn all the stuff, and then you work for free for that company, for the scuba dive school, you know?
But they put you up and stuff too?
No, I had to purchase all my gear. So I just sold everything. I had a really nice motorbike, like all the little stuff you accumulate throughout the years. I let everything go. I canceled my apartment and just like got rid of everything. And so I had that cash. I bought equipment. It's kind of that story where the guy has a piece of gold and he trades for a cow, and then he trades for the whatever, and it was kind of that. So I traded everything for my freedom, and
you can't buy that.
And then I really started my own story, right? I started writing my own story because it was just written by society, and that was a really important moment because then I was cut loose. I could do things, and I was in a protected environment, more or less. There were people. I couldn't go too crazy because I had to work. I worked with clients.
Scuba diving.
I mean, that's dangerous.
Leading
you know?
scuba.
Yeah. And we were cave diving. We were wreck diving. We were diving with sharks. I mean, you couldn't go there just wasted. You know, you have to really know what to do and focus. And there was a lot of party. I can imagine some fires at the beach, some Cuba Libre, some
Cuba Libres.
I mean, parties, and you can imagine.
What was just while we're on this topic, what was your favorite, like, what was the most profound experience you had doing scuba? Is there anything that sticks out? Like, that one still stays in my head.
Cave diving is really powerful.
Cave diving?
Cave diving, yeah, on the water, filled with water. Cave diving. It's cold. Well, it was very cold that, and the water is crystal clear, and you have your gear. And they always say, okay, if you panic, you're basically dead. So just don't panic. And I did that, and it turned out, it was before I even started meditating. So I was just, back then, I was really in control of myself and of the environment. And even if you have to kind of swim through gaps, like you could hardly fit the tank through.
Oof.
And
I'm so claustrophobic. That would wreck me, bro.
It was awesome because it was adventurous, it's dangerous, it's exploring. And it was a lot of fun. So it turned out I was really capable of managing myself and then going with people and managing people. And the lady once was really freaked out. And I just grabbed her, looked her in the eye, and kind of calmed her down, like, breathe, breathe. So that might be one of the most impactful experiences. But then also, I mean, after work, we could grab a tank and dive by ourselves. And so I did that. Sometimes I grabbed the tank and I was going in, maybe just 2-3 meters or 6 foot, whatever, and just lying there on the ground with my tank and just closing my eyes and actually kind of sleeping on the water. And just because there is no noise, well, that's the bubbles and stuff, but it's actually calm and relaxing environment. And then I was just laying there. And whenever you breathe in, you levitate slightly and then breathe out and then you go back. And without even experience like meditation, whatever, I meditated there, but even I didn't know it back then. And it felt like real peace, just being by myself in the ocean, lying on the ocean floor, just breathing. And the breathing with that regulator is actually really easy breathing. And so, that's some of these memories I really cherish. And apart from all the parties and you can imagine.
Never had a shark one-on-one?
Yeah, not attacking, obviously, but no, not in the Dominican Republic. No, it was reef sharks.
Reef sharks.
Very impressive.
Not aggressive, though.
No, and the crazy thing was we saw the shark and the whole group said, oh, shark, and we just swam towards the shark because we wanted to see it. And because in your mind, it's so unreal to be in a shark environment at the same time. I at least didn't never think that, okay, that actually could come and have a bite. I was so excited to see that. And so I went for it. because it's so real. You cannot rationally think, because like mankind, we're not supposed to be in there diving with sharks, you know?
Yeah. No, that's amazing. Have you thought about doing underwater photography?
Possibly, yes, but it's you need a different gear.
Equipment. Yeah,
yeah.
It's probably a whole specialized
Yeah.
equipment. Yeah.
And it's not a cheap hobby, you know. And so I haven't been diving in 2 years. I went in Costa Rica twice.
Where'd you go?
Very close to Punta Mona.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there was a private dive expedition we organized with a couple of friends. But turns out it's not like super recommended for diving in Costa Rica. So there is not like top spots. There is this Coco Islands, but they are offshore, and you have to go with a boat and stay there for several days. And it's like just I'm now focusing on other things than underwater photography. Yeah.
So speaking of equipment, you brought your camera. You want to show off your camera?
Yeah, let me show this little sucker up.
This little baby.
Yeah,
that's getting these kinds of shots. I mean, dude, this book is mind-blowing. And I bought a copy. I'm buying a copy for giving my mother, by the way. Because it's so beautiful. And it's like these shots, you've got to have hefty gear to like get these kinds of shots, right? This is it, right?
Let's get some sound there. So maybe 25 pictures of your beautiful rock out there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This is just for show off purposes, you know.
Oh, yeah. This is what you can do.
Yeah, it's like, but this is an older model already, so I'm looking forward to upgrade soon, but very, very capable. Like some of these shots you could never do with a normal camera. And that's the thing. People look at these pictures and say, what the fuck? I've never seen like the beauty.
Hey man, watch your language, bro.
I'm sorry,
no, I'm just kidding. I was like, dude, you can whatever. This is my podcast.
My enthusiasm,
fucking swear all we want.
My enthusiasm is coming through here.
I love it.
And so people say, I've never actually appreciated the beauty of a toucan. I mean, here you see them every day. But have you really seen
Not
one?
So up close, no.
So you have to grab a
binoculars,
or a camera like that to really appreciate, or
Wild and Scenic.
Or you can get it right here, you know.
Which they can get now at Brit stores or where?
Yeah, you can get it at the airport.
At the airport, at the Brit stores.
Yeah, so you can grab one copy of them. You don't have to carry that around all your trip.
Grab it on the way out.
Yeah, but they're in 14 different locations, like in La Fortuna, in Manuel Antonio, in Tamarindo, in I can give you a list, but yeah, I'm growing my my stores with whom I work with, but Libreria International.
In the malls and stuff. Yeah.
So the point actually to maybe deviate to the book or answer.
Deviating. This is the whole point of this thing.
The point actually is to show the beauty of nature, and the book is dedicated to nature, to the beauty of nature, so that people can appreciate it and somehow reconnect to that we are part of nature still, because we are so distracted. We go through life and there is TV and there is this, and then you have to watch a podcast and then
or listen.
Yeah, well, and
while paying attention to nature.
But that's an invitation to then see, okay, we are part of nature, and you care for what you know and love. And if you don't know about the beauty and you have never seen it up close, like a little hummingbird, you see them every day,
sure,
but have you really?
You do.
Yeah, but they are so beautiful, and then you see the little feathers and all the details and the colors up front, and say, fuck man, this is actually something I wanted to protect.
Yeah.
And this is not an outcry for don't fly, don't eat meat, that's more like subtle. Hey, by just looking at the beauty,
form your own decision, make your own decisions,
and fall in love with nature, basically.
Yeah, it's true. There's so much we don't see. Like that's what I noticed from all your photos is like you said, you can't see that. Like especially me, my eyes are like not great, so it's like I don't see details. But these are just, I mean, when you look at nature in this way, it's like, man, they're so intricate. Some of the, like this little snake. What is that little snake? It's a
eyelash pit viper.
Eyelash viper.
It was there waiting for a smaller hummingbird.
Yeah.
Actually, that was too big. You could never grab that, but that's a perfect trap there.
I mean, He was just waiting for the hummingbird.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so we saw that. I was with a group. I coordinate, organize custom-made wildlife tours, and I accompany them.
So people can, you still do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people can reach out, and that's kind of my niche thing. Is I don't like super high profile, but people who know me, and then word of mouth spreads, and then people reach out. Hey, actually, I have one of these cameras in my closet. I never use it. It's like having a nice race car in your garage, and you can never use it.
Right. You need a reason.
Yeah, you need a racetrack.
Yeah,
and so coming here actually is like you bring your gear to where it actually makes sense to have a long lens like that, and we can really appreciate and go and push the limits of your equipment.
Yeah.
And so I do customized tours. I check in what do you want to see, macaws, or when I have hummingbirds or trogons or waterfall or whatever, you know.
And then you know where they
pre-plan, yeah. I pre-plan the route, I propose it, and then I accompany them. And sometimes it's one person, it's two people, but it's kind of a high-end thing because people want to take advantage of their time. People know that's very valuable, and they make best results in the shortest amount of time.
Right. I think it's interesting. I think, you know, thinking about it that way too, it's like it becomes clear that like nature, sometimes it seems to us it's random, right? Because, you know, we do get a lot of like interesting birds and stuff that pass through here, but they have their spots. And well, just speaking of which, seeing of random natures get hit by pegged by a leaf.
Absolutely.
This is God's way of thanking you for doing the good work. But like they have their homes, they have their places. Like you were saying yesterday, I ran into you yesterday, and you're like on your way to go down to the river to film us. What was it? Some kind of
yeah, that's Sunbittern. Actually, I went twice. I was not lucky. Two days in a row. I will not give up because it's nature. You know, sometimes it's more predictable than others. If it's nesting season, if you know the nest, basically the bird will come back a couple of times a day, and during different seasons. But at the end of the day, it's nature. You know, you can't really pre-plan. If you want to see a specific animal, then go to the zoo and you can see it.
Sure, right. Or Manuel Antonio, where people feed the monkeys their potato chips, and they're always there.
I don't do that.
I know.
I don't go there.
No, I actually, you know, I have a deep respect for the nature, and I have like strong boundaries around them too. Like I'm part of nature, and I recognize that. Like you said, humans are a part of nature, and it's good to have some like interaction and some like you know, I think having too many boundaries can be bad, because then we're just like keeping everything out. But like, I like when the monkeys come around, but when they come down to try and like take food or something, man, I don't let them. I'm like, I'll run at them. I'll freaking chase them with a spear or whatever. Like, let them know, like, this is my zone. You guys stay up in the trees. Yeah. No, but it's also just not good for them to interact so much with humans. It's better for them to, as long as they have enough food, and there's plenty of food around here for them.
Absolutely. No, I'm the same opinion. When I've seen some monkeys on our farm, just about grabbing my bananas, which I've been waiting for a year to get ripe.
Exactly.
I will not let them either.
No. I had a whole corn patch right here, actually, right behind us.
Oh, really?
I had a whole corn patch at one point. They were all maturing. They were actually like good corn. We put a lot of work into trying to produce that, because it's organic. It's hard to produce organic corn.
Yeah. I wonder if it grows here.
It does. It totally grows. It requires a lot of fertilizer. We just used compost. We did a lot of compost. I had Abear was helping me back then. And this vine right here, maybe you can see it behind Florian. One day I went to Ecovia, walked down, came back, and all the corn was sitting on down there, harvested green, sitting at the base of this thing.
To get transported.
The monkeys, they just came and harvested them all, took a few, and then I was so upset.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Anyways, I have to take care here.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. I'm done with my monkey thing. So anyway,
monkey bitching.
Monkey bitching. Okay. And so what are you doing now? What's next for you? I know you were doing like real estate photography for a while.
Yeah.
So much.
Let me back up a little bit, because that's a very important part of how I got here, actually. so after like diving and doing other crazy stuff like backpacking in the States for 2 months and going from coast to coast twice and learning Spanish in Guatemala and get to know my wife and
Yeah, which is where you met Lucia.
yeah. So I went to go to Guatemala to learn Spanish, and I learned Spanish. I was motivated, as you can imagine.
No,
I fell
nothing
in love.
motivates like a woman.
I wanted to impress her, of course, and she was very patient with me at the beginning. I was not good at it.
She
And
speaks good English too, so.
yeah, and that was the point. She said, "Hey, if you really are interested in me, you learn my language, man."
Mm-hmm.
And she was really tough on that, and had a lot of patience because at the beginning, you can imagine, it's
not an easy.
like searching
takes
for
time,
words.
yeah.
It takes some time, but then we actually. After like a year trip or so, I went back to Switzerland. I worked on construction sites, made some money, and then was backpacking again. And that was another key element in my journey, was a pilgrimage. I was walking 3 months, leaving my house in Switzerland, my parents' house in Switzerland, and I walked all the way to Spain.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like 1,600 miles, like over 2,000 kilometers.
You found your
by
own
myself.
way. There was no.
No, it's a known pilgrimage. It's
the Camino de Santiago.
yeah, exactly, St. James Way. So I did that by myself purposefully because I wanted to kind of get an understanding of who I really am. Because as I talked to you about that earlier, the voice of society, I wanted to find my own voice. And so my trip around the world, there was kind of just a buffer in between. And then I actually started looking for myself in there. And I was walking for myself, and that's where I felt the call of becoming a photographer. So that's the start of it all. And then I married my wife, and we were backpacking for a year in South America. No plans, just okay, whatever. We go there, couch surfing, working on farms, getting to know people, and no planning or no like big attraction. We started in Venezuela under Hugo Chavez at that time. It was very interesting, and we were
Ivan is Venezuela.
Okay. Pura vida. And so we went to different places. We even worked for projects from the government, like helping people with English or dancing, whatever. And so we got to know Venezuela because we heard all these stories in the news. They said we wanted to see it for ourselves and see if it's really that bad or like horrible and here and there. And we found kind of a middle ground from, you remember the ones who are yes and the ones who are no, and referring obviously to the government.
Hugo Chavez. Yeah.
And there are so many yes people there also.
Was he the first socialist? He was the first socialist, kind of like.
Was he?
Of Venezuela before Hugo Chavez? Was there other like? Yeah. So, but similar socialismo era muy común allá. No. And Hugo Chavez era el primero. Sí. He was the first. Hugo Chavez was like the first like. He took the government, he took the oil reserves, and like he took the oil reserves from the private companies and said, we're taking this and now we're giving this to the people, and the people are going to benefit from the profits. So maybe his ideas were good at the time. He wanted to do good.
For people, they really made a difference because they could go to the grocery stores, buy food really cheap. They could go and fill their big cars with just the coin money you have underneath your radio, no? You just grab a few coins, and for 80 cents of a dollar, you would fill your car. Like incredible.
With what? Oh, gas.
Yeah.
Fuel.
Yeah. A whole tank. Not even a dollar. I was subsidized, obviously. And so he wanted to keep the support of the poor, basically. But it made a difference for the poor, And so we got to experience that. And we were traveling in Colombia, worked on organic farms, and
but it
got more and more into that.
It wasn't good on the contrary, for the wealthy class that was benefiting off of taking advantage of the poor.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, in hindsight, it's a disaster. You can't run a company like that.
Right. Right.
And in Colombia, we figured out that people there, the nicest people we got
Colombia.
to know. Yeah, the nicest people. They were so happy to people actually showing up at their country, not just believing all the crap they're like reaches us in the whole world.
The narcos and all.
Yeah, and it's so nice people. So we permanently got invited by.
Excuse me.
We currently we got invited by people just to stay at their house. And then they would refer us to their families and friends and parents, and then they were so happy to have us and talk to us. So like the most friendly people we've got to know in South America were Colombians. And went to Ecuador, and then on the way we learned meditation, and like the whole thing was not planned, but it turned out just beautifully. And after that year of backpacking, we actually went back once more to Switzerland and started our family. So both of our kids were born in Switzerland. They're now turning 14 and 12. So it's
your kids are almost teenagers now.
Yeah. And then I worked at the container shipping company Maersk Line. Once again, back to the roots, you could say. But funny thing is, I actually wanted to work more in the travel environment. And so I presented myself in a travel agency and in an outdoor goods store, like where they sell backpacks and tents and sleeping bags. And they wouldn't take me. They wouldn't take me with all my background, all the four languages I speak, my business administration background, my travel experience. They wouldn't take me because Switzerland, in a way, is really paper-based. If you don't have a piece of paper that says you speak English, you're basically not speaking English. If you never had like a diploma to sell like sports equipment, you would not get the job. And so I went back to the office and made a lot of money there, doing something I really didn't enjoy at all.
Maersk, you mean?
Yeah.
At the shipping lines.
Yeah.
So, but then fast forward.
Yeah, I 3 years after that, I said, okay, we have to go. We have to like really change our lives. We came to Costa Rica. I've never been here before. I heard good stories and said, okay, let's do it. And we just came here and then we never left. That was a decade ago.
Yeah. And that's when...
And then I turned what I promised to myself on the pilgrimage, my passion for photography, into my profession. I started like with no connections, nothing ever. And I just did everything. I did vetting, I did real estate, I did video, I did like whatever.
You even shot that weird 360 video with penises and pineapples here at my...
I thought, I would just give it a shot. Maybe it takes off, you know?
Yeah.
If a company comes away and they say, okay, we want to have this big production and invest in here and there, I could build up crew, get better gear, you know? Never took off. And that's the thing. If somebody tells you, just follow your dreams. No, fuck that, man. Don't do that. Use your brain. I fell on my face like, uncountable times.
Right.
And if I actually could see the future, I've not even considered doing all the stuff I did. Because it's so hard. You just go out of, okay, everything will be okay. There will be a net. No, man, there will be no net. You have to do everything for yourself and you have to pick it all up. And if you have a family and small children, worse even, because there is people to look after.
Yeah, you had a whole family.
You run into problems you've never even imagined. And no, man, that's horrible, horrible advice if you don't give like the disclaimer, you know. At the end of the day, yes, do it, but read the disclaimer. You know,
Florian, you're getting ready for your next career as a motivational speaker. I can see it already. I think this is the next path for you, and you've got the photos to prove it. And well, we're a bit out of time for now, so we're gonna wrap it up with just to say thank you so much. I know that there was more to the story, and I want to talk to you more about maybe I can ask you.
When we're off record, I can share you the book and tell some stories.
But we'll do it on camera. We'll do it for the Patreon, for the add-on.
All right. Yeah. Okay, sure.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing your wisdom with us, Florian Kuster, and the new book, Wild and Scenic.
That's it.
Costa Rica through my lens, his lens, which you've seen now, the big one. You can buy this locally. You can buy it at the airport, at the Brit stores, or in the Libreria Internacional. You can
Authentica, the gift shops, they're all across the country.
Online?
Also.
Do you have an online presence you want to talk about?
You can get it to my website. You can see also tour dates on my website. It's basically my name, floriankuster.com. And you can order the book online, but only Costa Rica for now. But I'm working on having it on Amazon, because people are watching my Instagram and they always ask me from South America, North America, Europe, and they want to have my book, and I have no way to ship it currently. Right. So I'm working on that. Very soon you'll find it online on Amazon too.
But if you can buy it more direct, direct is better, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Sure.
support the
Go
artists.
and visit my homepage. You can support me on Instagram. I actually lost my Instagram, like the big Instagram account, and I had to start from scratch.
We had that happen twice.
And it sucks because I was out of energy. I mean, I put so much effort. I had thousands of followers.
Yeah.
And now starting from scratch.
Yeah.
And then if you go there now and say, oh, well, that's kind of a small account.
So what is it? But what is it?
You go for Florian Kuster Photography.
Florian Kuster Photography, and we'll put the link to that on.
Please
on
help me regrow that followership because it hurts.
It does.
It's a lot of work.
Well, thank you so much, brother.
Umano.
And definitely go check out the "Don't Have You" music video. We'll also put a link there, which Florian filmed in our very first VR music video. And if you have a VR set, use it because it's more fun. You can just kind of like look around and see.
It's kind of a trip back to time. We should actually watch it after the interview.
We should.
It's
We'll do
kind of
it.
a
We'll do it. I have a
time
VR set
travel.
actually.
Do you?
Yeah.
Awesome.
We can pull it out.
Let's do that.
This is live. Well, and stay tuned for the Patreon. We're gonna continue the conversation. Join our Patreon, and it's a good way to keep up with these things. This is La Vida Verde podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Human. My guest today was Florian Kuster. We are at Finca Vida Verde. We release episodes every Tuesday at noon. You can watch us on YouTube. You can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Please follow us at Finca Vida Verde CR on Instagram. We are on Facebook, Finca Vida Verde, and Patreon, as I mentioned, La Vida Verde podcast. We appreciate your support. I want to say thank you to my product sponsor, Eco Teas, for the yerba mate, keeping me charged. And stay tuned. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, brother.
Pura vida.
Okay, so